So first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull up our test program. We're going to go into select here. Go into my computer, into CNC, and then we're going to go into PARTSCENTATEQ and look for the file called test piece, which is just going to be this one right here. We're going to open that. Should just be this little cutout right here that we're working with. Once it's in our bottom right corner, we can go ahead and accept. Now I'm just going to move my machine out of the way so I can put a scrap piece on there to work with. And then at this point, I'm also going to turn my push mode off just so it doesn't try to push this test off every time it cuts it out. Now we're just going to need to find a 3/4 inch scrap piece that we can work with. Something like this should work. Once that's into position, we can go ahead and just start. Now what we're looking for with this piece is we want our bit cutting all the way through our melamine, which it currently isn't. If you have any melamine left, we need to adjust our bit to cut deeper to make sure it's cutting all the way through. And then this piece here is also supposed to be exactly 4 inches this way, which we'll be checking for after we get the depth correct on this piece. So I'm just going to break off a little piece of this melamine here and measure that with the caliper. We'll take our caliper, make sure to zero that out, and then just measure how thick this remaining piece of melamine is. So we're at about 0.0265. I'm going to write that down. So at this point, we need our bit to be cutting deeper in order to get rid of that remaining melamine. So I'm going to go back into my tool management. Make sure I'm on my 3/8 compression again. And now we're going to be adjusting the length to fix that particular issue there. And we're going to be adjusting both this one here, the regular length, and also the collision length. Go into here, change our unit of measurement over to inches. And now what we're going to do here is we're going to take this number here and we're going to subtract this number that I've written down here from here in order to get our bit to cut deeper. That should be our new length here. I'm just going to input that. Once you have that written up here, you can go ahead and hit accept. And then we're also going to make that same change to our collision length. Go into here, change over to inches. Hit accept. And then if these are both highlighted yellow, there's no exclamation mark saying that something's wrong, we should be good to hit transfer and then save. And now we'll just keep running this test over and over again until we get it cutting out exactly the way it should be. All right, so we take a look at our piece this time. We don't have any remaining melamine on the bottom, so we got our depth adjusted correctly in that case. Now what we're going to be looking for is we want to make sure this piece is exactly 4 inches this way. So I'm just going to check that with my caliper. All right, so we're not quite 4 inches there, so we will need to make an adjustment to the radius of this tool. So I'm just going to write down what that piece is currently measuring at. And now what we're going to do here to find out how much we need to adjust our radius by is we need to subtract or find the difference between what the piece currently is and what it should be. So it should be exactly 4 inches right now. So I'm just going to take my 4 inches and subtract what it currently is. That gives us this number here. And now what we need to do at this point, once we have this number, is we need to make an adjustment to the radius. So once you find the difference, you're going to take that number and divide it by 2. And that right there is the amount that we're going to be making an adjustment. Now we're just going to go back into tool management. And now we're going to be making an adjustment to the radius. Go into our radius, make sure we're in inches. And now, if you reference this chart here, our piece is currently too small. We need to make our piece bigger, so we're going to be adding this number to the radius that's currently written right here. Take that, add this number. That right there is the new number for our radius. Hit accept. Also make the same change to our collision radius. Accept, transfer, and save. Now we're just going to run one more test to make sure that we did everything correctly. So we're just going to check the dimension of this one more time. Making sure it's coming out to be exactly 4 inches, which we're spot on now, so we should be good there.